So the next part, what is really important, is we need to have cultures we can work with because we do streak for isolation, we do enumeration and some other activities, so we need active live cultures to grow. I want you to go back to your Carolina kit and find the microquick cultures. You should have 2 different vials. And I want you to use the Staphylococcus epidermidis. And it's a little vial with a dried pellet. And I want you to have a liquid soy broth, which we inoculate. And then also get one of the tryptic soy agar slants, which is a solid agar. And we will create our cultures.
Okay. Perfect. 1 second. Okay. So I have tryptic soy broth.
Perfect.
I have tryptic soy agar.
Yes.
Which is much more viscous and less liquid-like.
Right.
Okay, so I'll put those off here. And I created this little box that holds the tubes from the kit.
You should be also able to have a rack. So your kit should come with a little tube rack.
Yes, I believe I saw that. But putting this together, I just slapped this together really quickly, and it seems to be holding it up together.
That works as well, but for other experiments, we'll use that later on.
Perfect. And I will put these here. Okay, so I have my two of these, and now the Staphylococcus epidermis.
Perfect. And then we also need a Sharpie or the wax pencil.
Yes. Okay, let me see.
And we also need a transfer pipette, a sterile transfer pipette.
Yes. Okay. I have, so this is where we get the sterile pipettes.
That's one of them. There's another whole bag with pipettes as well, a larger bag.
Yes, I see. Pipettes. I see. I have it right here. Pipettes here.
Perfect. Yes. Sterile transfer pipettes.
Perfect. Okay.
And you've got a pen?
Yes, I have a Sharpie right here.
Excellent. So the key thing when you work in microbiology labs, you have to label absolutely everything. And what we usually label it with is your name or initials, the date, the media you inoculate in, and the organism or the sample you use to inoculate the media.
Yes.
So it's always initials, date, media, culture, or origin. Okay, so if you label your broth and your agar slant.
Okay, I'm currently labeling the broth because I didn't do that, the E. coli broth that I did the last time, but let me label these, the ones we're doing right now with the Staphylococcus. So I would label it 12/23, today's the 23rd of December as we're recording this. 12/23. And then my initials, so DL. And then you also mentioned the sample that we're using. So I would write, what's a shorthand way of writing that we're using this Staphylococcus?
SE, Staph epidermidis, SE is fine.
Okay, perfect.
And because the tube is labeled already with what media it is, you don't need to write the media, but sometimes you get plates that are not labeled. And so we need to write the media on the label on the tubes or on the plate as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
So would I label the agar as well, or just the broth for now?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll label that as well. Okay.
All right, and then we need 2 more things. You need your little flame, the paraffin light, because we want to practice aseptic technique.
And
Some of our students who live in dorms can't use it because they're not allowed to have flames, even if it's for scientific use.
yes, what I also use, and I know some people might have this, is this little lighter thing, which might be helpful.
That absolutely works, yes.
But in which bag would that Bunsen burner be found in?
That would be in the large bag with sort of everything, with the PPE and the pipettes and everything else. It's usually in here. And you also can see the rack, the tube rack in here.
Yes, okay.
It's a little paraffin candle with a wick. If you take the lid off, it's just like a little light. And so this, if you use this container, Daryl, and take one of the empty plastic bags and put it in here, that's a nice container to put your contaminated loops and your contaminated cultures if you don't need it anymore.
Perfect.
So I always have a container on my workstation to have contaminated materials to put it in there.
Perfect. Okay, and I just found the Bunsen burner. It's, in case anyone was wondering, it's wrapped in the brown paper. Okay.
Perfect. So you take the lid off, and then sometimes you may want to tip it over a little bit just so that the wick gets wet. So tilt it over so that the wick gets wet, and then it lights a little bit more easily.
Okay. Okay, I just want to put a bag, like you said, over this container. And you said the bag's from this, from the PPE kit or from another?
Any empty plastic bag will do, just to put it in there so that you can just take it out and then dispose of it.
Perfect. Okay. I don't think we have any plastic bags here. Let me see. I'll just put this one here. Okay.
So
Okay.
any empty plastic bag from the kit, you can just put in here and then sort of
Perfect.
slide it over.
Okay, so tilt it over to get the wick a little wet.
Mm-hmm.
And then just light it with the fire device.
You want to show it to us in front of the camera?
This thing sometimes has problems working, but let's see if I can get it to light. There we go.
Perfect. Sometimes takes a little bit.
There we go.
Great. Excellent. So we can have proper aseptic technique, almost like in the lab. Great.
Okay, so I'll put this down and let me put the camera in the same position I had before so we can see my desk.
Excellent, yeah.
Point it down. There we go.
And so the key thing, that looks great. So the key thing for microbiologists, whenever you open any tube or any bottle or anything, you always quickly hold it over the flame so that the mouth of the container gets sterilized and you don't contaminate your culture. So if you take now your dehydrated culture, if you take your staph epidermidis, and you can take off the little metal cap, there's a little perforation. So you may have, I don't know if you can get in with your fingernails or like a little tweezers or something, but you have to pull it off. Yeah.
So I use the little pin I have here. Let me see if I can.
There's some tweezers or pin or something just to pull it up a little bit, to loosen it. All right, and then take off the metal rim.
I had another pin here that was a little thinner. And this part was a little tricky at first to get off, but you're trying to get off this little aluminum.
And don't rip it off, just pull it off so you can actually open the whole rim around the plastic lid.
And mine just fell off, but I'll figure out a way to get it all off.
That's perfect.
Okay, there we go. So
excellent.
The rim fell off.
And can you show the little pellet at the bottom?
Yes. I'm not sure if it's in focus. Let's see if I can get it in focus.
This is exactly, so the bottom part is like dehydrated culture. That can be, if you add media, the bacteria will start to grow again. Perfect. So we're gonna just, once you have your liquid medium ready, get your transfer pipette.
The broth, correct? Okay.
And your transfer pipette. One tip when you use your transfer pipette, never open it at the bottom because you want to keep it sterile.
There you go. Just lost the flame.
So you always open it on the top part where the bulb is, and you don't want to touch anything below.
Yes. Okay.
And you pull it out and then it's sterile. But you want to at the same time keep it like this and then have your liquid broth and flame it.
Okay. Okay, so I opened the top part.
And then take your liquid broth and then put the mouth over the flame. Perfect. Twist it a little. Yep, perfect. And so that's sterilizing the top. And now you can take your transfer pipette.
Okay.
And take about a milliliter out.
Okay, so we just squeeze the tip and...
Yep, squeeze the bulb and then take about a milliliter.
Okay.
And then pull it out and see if you can put the lid back on your liquid broth. Can you hold it a bit further down?
Like this?
Yeah, and ideally you flame it again before you put the lid on it next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, and now you use your dehydrated culture.
Let me angle this camera up just a bit so we can see more.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. And then take the plastic lid off.
Okay.
And then put your culture in here, in your liquid media in here.
Okay, just squeezing the pipette.
Yeah. And then flame the top of the tube again. So every time you open or close anything, you always flame it before and after. Perfect. And then put the lid back on. In an ideal world, you don't put the lid down, but it should be okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then swirl it around a little bit. And we'll let it sit for about 15 minutes.
Okay. And
so
just...
you can dispose of your transfer pipette. And then you take your liquid slant. Now 15 minutes have passed. Go fast forward. And you take the slant, the liquid broth again. And take a new transfer pipette.
Okay.
And then open it up again. And take everything from your dehydrated culture and transfer it into the liquid broth. So take everything, not from this tube, from the other one. Yeah.
Okay. So
because you want your culture to grow.
Yes. Okay. So I will open this one. Will we flame it again when we open it?
Yep. Always flame. It's always good practice.
Okay. So. Okay. I'm putting this right side up. Okay.
Just take everything out.
Okay.
And then transfer it into your liquid broth. And flame it before you transfer it. Flame it.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
Okay. We're transferring everything here.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
And is it one more time?
Flame it again after the transfer?
Always flame it before and after every transfer. And then we just completely successfully done an aseptic transfer of a culture, rehydration and aseptic transfer. Great. So shake it a little bit up and down, and then we incubate it.
Okay, I will dispose of this pipette that we used.
Great.
And I will put this to incubate.
Yep. And we have some time pass.